The executive director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump comments on Atlanta's police officers' reaction to the charges levied against the officer who fatally shot Rayshard Brooks. Here's One America's Jenn Pellegrino with that interview.
Yesterday, of course, the news came that the officer that tried to arrest Rayshard Brooks was charged with felony murder. You were in Atlanta last night as the reaction took place in your city, and you were with officers. There are some reports that officers walked out. Others are saying that they simply called in sick. The Atlanta Police Department is denying some of that. What actually happened?
Well, thanks for having me. Very emotional time. It's interesting. I spent most of the morning talking to former chiefs and former captains and current officers as well, because I used to serve on a police academy board here for a few years, so I have a lot of connections and connectivity with some of the public service, current and former, as well as I was chairman at MARTA, which put me over the second largest police unit here in Atlanta. So a lot of mixed emotions, in terms of these huge walkouts. Everyone's saying, I didn't see that. I did talk to a lot of them that were very concerned as it relates to the due process. Not so much as what we witnessed on the video cams and the camera for the world to see, but just the actual fairness on behalf of the police to get a full, comprehensive final investigation for the GBI before these charges came out. And that was the biggest thing I heard, Jen.
Bruce, it's obviously a really tough time for America, and it's a tough time to be a police officer in America right now, tougher than usual. What are you hearing from police officers that you speak to?
Well, really just kind of honestly, respectfully trying to maintain the morale. And, and I'm going to say this personally, I always like to come on camera and speak from personal experiences and testimonies, and as well as my tenure as it relates to serving on these type of boards. That gives me the knowledge on this. And I'm going to tell you, the bulk majority of our great public safety folks are stand-up people, men and women. And, I'm very cautious that relates to not having a small half of a percent of folks who aren't doing their duties the correct way, to not tarnish the 99.9% of the great men and women that serve in that uniform. I think it's only fair to, articulate that, and not, water down what happened to the unfortunate situation, but to also bring life and light. Remember, the president, when he says law and order, he's not just saying law and order applies to all of us, all citizens, police, citizens that aren't police. This is for everyone. So I think that's something that I know that I'm very passionate about, making sure we articulate that.
What do you think it's going to take to restore race relations? What is it going to take to ensure that our police officers feel safe out there, that they can do their jobs properly without retaliation, and that also, of course, our citizens can feel safe in their encounters with police officers?
Well, I've always said the best communications for justice reform is relationships with the local police department. I mean, Jen, for example, I have close to 50 various police officers in my phone alone, police chiefs, DAs, federal judges, and making a conscious effort to know your police department and knowing who they are, and inviting your small business people to know them. And I think that's one of the biggest pluses you can have, not to mention your faith-based communities have to have a tremendous dialogue with your local police and your chiefs, et cetera. For example, the president immediately jumping in and coming out with, public safety reform. We've had previous administrations that had many opportunities, and I don't want to sit here and have the blame game, but the president has been key on jumping out and getting the conversation going, and so I think that in itself is tremendous, which is going to start a dominoing effect, or should I say, accountability check for all city, counties, and municipalities to have a strong conversation of these proactive, and these are just some of the proactive solutions that I know that I've been hearing. That's the good's going to come out of this.
Bruce Levell, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for taking time.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.